esteemed Commandant of the U.S. Army War College, distinguished faculty, esteemed officers, future leaders of the armed forces, friends, partners, and allies. It is truly a great honor for me to stand before you today in this institution that has shaped generations of American military leaders. And not only American military leaders, but leaders around the world. Leaders who not only defended the United States, but who also defended freedom far beyond your shores, including in my homeland, the Republic of Kosovo. The very walls of this college carry the weight of history. They carry the stories of strategy, leadership, as well as sacrifice. And they carry a mission to prepare you to face the challenges of today with courage, and to prepare you for the unknown challenges of tomorrow with wisdom. I come to you not only as the President of the Republic of Kosovo, but as someone who grew up during a genocidal war. I was a very young girl when Kosovo was facing a brutal war by the Milosevic regime. It was a time when we were being forced out of our homes, when our loved ones were being killed in front of our eyes, and where our childhood was simply war, conflict, devastation, and suffering. Our very existence was in question. And in those darkest of hours, America stood with us. It was American soldiers, alongside our NATO allies, who came to Kosovo and turned despair into hope, fear into safety, and occupation into freedom. Every family, every single family in my country carries a story of the first time they saw the American flag on the arm of a US soldier. They saw their saviors. For us, that flag is not simply a symbol of another nation. It was the symbol of a promise that even people in the smallest countries would not be abandoned if they were standing for their God-given right to be free. That promise lives on today. Kosovo proudly stands as the most pro-American country on earth. And it is not by accident. It is because your service members, men and women in uniform, kept faith with us when it mattered most. And they do so even today. Ladies and gentlemen, the world you are preparing to lead in is more complex and more dangerous than at any time since the end of the Cold War. Authoritarian powers are testing the resolve of free nations. They are weaponizing disinformation, exploiting economic dependencies, and threatening the very principles of sovereignty and self-determination. Kosovo knows this firsthand. Many years after the war, now recently in 2023, we faced a terrorist attack which amounted to an act of aggression against our country, which was directed and supported by Serbia, Russia's proxy in our region. This was not only an attack against Kosovo, it was an attack on the values that unite us: democracy, freedom, and the rule of law. It was an attack on everything America stood for. It was an attempt to destroy everything American that was achieved in our region. Our response was firm but responsible. We defended our people. We protected our sovereignty. And we did so in close coordination with our allies, primarily the United States. Because we know that the strength of a democracy is not only on the size of a country's territory, but most importantly on the size of its alliances. Kosovo has learned all too well that modern conflict is not only fought with tanks and rifles, but also through propaganda, cyber attacks, and economic pressure, all of which were used against us. Hybrid warfare seeks to blur the line between peace and war, making it harder to recognize the battlefield of the adversary. But our lesson is clear. The resilience of our institutions, the unity of our people, and the trust and the strength of our allies are as critical to deterrence as our military capabilities. Without resilience, without allies, even the strongest of armies can be weakened from within. Some may ask how a small country like Kosovo can contribute strategically to collective security. The answer lies in deterrence. By strengthening our defense, integrating with NATO standards as we currently do, and demonstrating readiness to resist aggression, we raise the cost for any adversary who would consider testing our resolve. For a small state, every act of preparedness is not only defense, but also deterrence. It's a defense for peace, not just within our borders, but for the wider region and for our entire continent and the world. This is why Kosovo's future lies into NATO, not simply as a consumer of security, but also as a contributor to it. Already, our soldiers serve shoulder to shoulder with American troops in peacekeeping missions worldwide. We're already aligning our defense strategies with those of our allies. We're already spending more than some of the NATO allies do. And we are already preparing the next generation of Kosovo officers to learn from the very best, many of whom, as you could see, in this very hall today. One of the defining lessons from Kosovo's existence and experience is that coalitions are decisive. NATO's success in saving lives in 1999 was the action of many nations acting as one, but most importantly, led by the leader of the free world, the United States of America. Today, interoperability, whether in doctrine, technology, or training, is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Future commanders will not fight alone. You will fight as part of alliances, and the cohesion of those alliances will be measured not only in military strength, but also in the trust among each and every one of you. The class before me, your careers will unfold in an era defined by strategic competition, but also by strategic opportunity. Whether in Europe, in the Indo-Pacific, or in cyberspace, you will carry the burden of safeguarding not only America's security, but also America's legacy, its legacy around the world. Because when America leads, coalitions, strong coalitions form. When America leads, aggressors think twice. They always do. When America leads, freedom always has a fighting chance. But your leadership is not only about power. It has always been also about purpose. The power of your armed forces is unmatched. But what sets America apart is the purpose for which you use it. The belief that every single human being has the right to live free, that borders cannot be changed by force, that democracy, however imperfect, is worth defending. That is what makes the United States not just a great power, but also a good power, the good power. Your service has always been the line between tyranny and freedom, between despair and hope. It is not only the defense of America, it's the defense of humanity's most sacred right, the most sacred right, the right to live free. Time and again, from the Republic of Kosovo to every corner of the globe, American soldiers have proven that when you arrive, when you are present, lives are saved and the arc of history bends towards justice. This is why your service matters not just for one nation, but to the world. Because when you serve, you do not simply guard a country, you safeguard the very idea of liberty itself. Because of your sacrifice and the sacrifice of your families, children who once hid in a basement now walk safely to school with their backpacks on. Families who once fled in fear now gather around their dinner tables in peace. People that once lived under the shadow of war now raise their flags in freedom. These are the human faces of your contribution, the lives restored, the futures reclaimed, and people, free people, who can dream again because you chose to serve. And that is why Kosovo will always proudly stand with you. Because we know the cost of freedom, we know that liberty is never free. And we know that the bond between our two people is forged in sacrifice, in partnership, and most importantly, in shared destiny. As you look ahead to the challenges you will face as commanders, strategists, and advisors, I really hope that you carry with you not only the theories of war, but also the lessons of peace, the peace that you made possible. I hope you remember that the security is never just the absence of war, but also the presence of justice for those who suffered most. And as President Eisenhower said, and reminded the Army College nearly 60 years ago, the strength of a nation can never be measured merely in guns, planes, tanks, and ships. The real influence of a nation in the world is measured also by its people, alongside its military and economic strength. That is the kind of leadership that the world continues to expect from the United States and its allies. So let me end with this. The story of Kosovo is proof that American leadership can change the course of history. It is proof that when free nations stand together, no aggressor can succeed. They don't stand a chance. And it is proof that the values you are sworn to defend are not only American values, they are universal. So to each and every one of you, I say, wear your uniform with pride. It's a uniform that has saved so many lives around the world, including my own, which is why I stand here before you today. Lead with courage, and never, ever forget that the strength of your nation and of nations like mine depends on the strength of your character. The entire world has their hopes on you. And in Kosovo, we will always cheer for your successes and serve shoulder to shoulder with each and every one of you. Because your success is our success. Your strength is our strength. And your leadership is our hope. Thank you very much. May God bless the men and women of the United States Armed Forces, and may God bless the Republic of Kosovo and the United States of America. Thank you.